and welcome to Love and Surrender. This is a YouTube channel, it's a website, and also a Facebook page. It's devoted specifically to loving and surrendering. Surrender is a very hard thing. Love is a very hard thing, and that's why there's this website. Love is all. We do what we love. We be who we are, and then we are surrounded by people we love, and we try to do what we love, and that makes us happy. Sometimes it's hard to find love, but the quickest solution I found is just surrendering. It's taking a deep breath and surrendering everything. If you're religious, it could be put it in God's hands. If you're not religious, it could be just surrendering it to the universe. But the power of surrendering is the letting go of the ego, and that leads the path to finding a love within us. So if I were to break this down into 3 steps, that would be the first step: surrender everything. Step 2 is to keep surrendering until you discover the feeling of love within you. And then step 3 is to continue that feeling, continue loving as much as you can. So that's the purpose of everything. That's the simplest form. Something that's very simple, very practical. You don't need to set aside time. If you don't have the time, this is something you can do. If you're at a bookstore or anywhere, you're at work and having a bad day, take a moment of surrender. And that's part of the path to feeling love again in your heart. I know love is important. Of course, there's a song, All You Need Is Love. Of course, biblically, is love, and you look in every religion, we see the power of love and the importance of love, and also in philosophy, the power that love has when we have it to our own emotions and to our well-being. So that's the whole purpose of this, is to focus simply on surrendering as the path to finding love within us. Something that's very practical. This video, this is the first one. We're going to do several others, and I'm going to have different people come in. They're kind of different backgrounds, careers, religions, and just anyone with possible advice. And I'm going to try to find the happiest people I can possibly find to help us to maintain our happiness too. But for the first one, it's just me. So we can practice surrendering like it can be right now. We can just take a deep breath. We could say, if you believe in God, Lord, I put this over into your hands, my life, my career, my family, all of this is in your hands. I can really do nothing about it. So please guide me in order to do something about it. If you don't believe in God, you can surrender it to the universe. But there's something about the non-attachment of the ego that helps our real soul to come through. So you can practice this anywhere. How I came to discover this was through music. I grew up playing music, and I love playing music. I think I started when I was 8, and aside from the lessons and stuff, I would take piano lessons and go home. But I never liked the piano lessons too much. I just liked sitting in front of the piano and hitting this big chord, letting this chord ring out. And I would let that ring out forever, and it would just go on. And what I would do is I would just listen closely and listen for the overtones to come out of that music. And that was very surrendering and transporting for me. And so that was always kind of the first step of me having this process of surrender. But anyone can come to it from whatever they do. Sometimes there's artists, there's sometimes work, sometimes maybe selling insurance is your process of surrender. So that was how I got started on it. And through the years I would start different kinds of music. But when I started doing my own music, I was playing restaurants, I was doing all kinds of stuff with music. I would play festivals or parties or whatever, and so I'd have practice, and I'd be practicing all sorts of different kinds of music. But I found the music that spoke to me is when I wouldn't think about music at all. It would be more of a surrender. It would be more of a prayer, and I would find that, I guess you would consider this improvisation, but it became a spiritual practice for me. I would just sit there and I would play, and if you don't think about keys and just kind of like, Lord, I turn this over to you, please give us the music that you want. And suddenly I would find that I could just create endless melodies, and it just would kind of just keep flowing. And it wasn't me, it was something coming through me, because I don't have the imagination enough to keep having these melodies and all this music come through. And but I write my own stuff, and it reminds me of this time I was booked to play at this TV church, and it was before we were to go on. It was about an hour before, and I go to this chapel. This is like from the 1920s, and no one was in there. It's dark, and there's stained glass, so it's great prayer stuff. And so I'm praying hard. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to play. I've played this church before, and I've played a lot of songs, and what do I want to play? And the voice was just like, it didn't say surrender, it just says, I'll give you the music, don't worry about it. So that was, in a way, it wasn't like directly telling me to surrender, it was bringing me to the answer of surrender, which is like, don't worry, I'll give you the music. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm praying, and 5 minutes later, I'm still in the chapel. I'm like, okay, so what music are we going to play? Don't worry about it, I'll give you the music. I'm like, all right. So I get done, and it's time to go on. It's time to go into the sanctuary, and TV's about to start, and I'm sitting there, and the TV church is starting. It's not my time to play yet. I'm like, okay, God, what are we going to do right now? I'm just like, don't worry, I'm going to give it to you. So it's like, oh boy. So comes to be my time to go on. I'm sitting there, and it's TV church. I think there's like 10,000 people like watching this TV church. And I don't know what I'm going to do at all. So I'm sitting there, and it was just like, don't worry, I'm going to give it to you. And then suddenly I hear something that is in my voice right before I start playing. It just says, start in D, the key of D, the key of D major, which is a very joyous key. So I'm like, okay. So at this point, I'm like very nervous. I'm sweaty palms. I'm not at my best musical practice right now, but so I was just like, okay, we'll start in D. And there was like, okay, you remember that melody you played on that one CD a long time ago? So I start with that, and it was like, okay, now just keep going with it. I'm like, keep doing what with it? Just keep going. And it turned out to be, it was a continuation of the surrendering, and it kept evolving, and it kept growing, and suddenly I had this electric feeling, and I don't know if the people watching it, if that was part of it, but there was this wonderful feeling. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? And so after it was like, wow, that was awesome. Thank you very much. And again, gratitude is a very important part of surrender. So, thank you very much. But that's the way I see music. I don't see music as music. I see it as a way to be connected spiritually. And so that's why it came out. Hopefully it was a blessing to someone else. But the reason I share that is because we can all have that in our lives. It doesn't have to be through music. For some it's art, and for some it could be anything. So that's what I want to get to, is finding that surrender and finding that love within us. So on that note, I will end this with a musical surrender. And this was music that was created much the same way that I created the music at the church. And this is specifically for anyone watching this right now. It's just for you. And it's just kind of a surrender. We start with a surrender, and we just kind of let go, and it ends in love. That's usually how it starts, something peaceful, and then I feel more inspired by the end of it, and then it turns into love. So it's kind of hopefully a good example of love and surrender. So anyway, this music, you'll just see me doing my thing playing, but you don't have to watch that. The whole purpose is to find surrender and to become love. So if you want to close your eyes or just put on the music at this point, you can go and do your thing. Whatever it takes to love and surrender, have a quiet moment. Anyway, if you like this, it's loveandsurrender.com. You can like us on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube. If you have any questions, let me know. Contact me through the website or through Facebook, whatever. But anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts or suggestions, and Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. So now we'll get to the music part of it. Thank you very much, and have a very, very blessed day, and best wishes to all of you. To love and light to everybody. Thank you.